Family, good morning. It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. This is Wake Up Bama for Friday, November 28th. First and foremost, I hope that you had a fantastic Thanksgiving with your family. I hope that you sat around at the table and cherished your loved ones. I hope that you broke bread with friends, family, watched a little bit of football, but most importantly, I hope that you were able to stay in that moment and cherish time with the people that matter most to you. So with that said, welcome to today's program. And I will be live today at 10 a.m. I'm going to give you a choice today, okay? Because there's two topics right now, and clearly the biggest one is the Iron Bowl on Saturday. But there's another speculative rumor that continues to be swirling around, and that is with Coach Kalen DeBoer and Penn State. So I'm going to give you the option here. If you want to bypass kind of that speculative kind of area and just focus on the Iron Bowl, then go ahead and scroll to 8 minutes in this video. The 8-minute mark is when I'll start talking about the Iron Bowl, real football, okay? The first part of this video is going to be speculative on Coach Kalen DeBoer and Penn State, and I'm about to explain why I have to talk about this. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to scroll to 8 if you want to bypass all this stuff. Okay. The reason I have to cover information like this is because the biggest people in college football are talking about it, right? And that's Coach Kalen DeBoer and this whole Penn State deal. Now, no one has openly came out and said that Kalen DeBoer is interested in Penn State, but there has been a lot of sources that said that Penn State is interested in Coach Kalen DeBoer. And in my mind, I'm like, man, you don't go from Alabama to Penn State. Okay, but people are talking about this, and it continues to pick up steam. So much so that I have to address it here on the podcast, on the program. I have to talk about it. I can't pretend that this isn't out there. Like, everybody is talking about this. And what's unfortunate is I'm like, man, you know, it's overshadowing the Iron Bowl. It's overshadowing the games that we have that are taking place. I think it's unfair to college football fans. We should be able to go into the Iron Bowl clear-headed, knowing that that game is everything instead of being stuck in this space, okay? But this is the world that we live in, so let's kind of dive into it a little bit, okay, and kind of set the stage. And as you can see, it's not like I'm creating fake news. I mean, look, you see it on Yahoo Sports. Kalen DeBoer among favorites to become major college programs' next head football coach. And, 1.5 head coach stands between Kalen DeBoer and Penn State job. Kalen DeBoer's future enters a do-or-die window with Penn State, right? Sets clear deadline. Lane Kiffin chooses Alabama. It's crazy. It's everywhere. It's on every single website, every single message board, right? If you look at like the AI overview, it's like current news on Kalen DeBoer involves speculative linking him to Penn State as a head coach vacancy, despite DeBoer being in the second year of his 8-year, $87 million contract with Alabama. While some reports identify him as a top target at Penn State, others, including a source close to DeBoer, have refuted rumors, right? So, stating that he is not leaving Alabama. DeBoer's focus remains on the rest of Alabama's season, clearly, right? So, what do I personally think? Number one, man, straightforward, I think it's junk, to be honest, okay? I think it's junk. I don't even really want to cover it, to be honest, but I have to. Okay, it's part of my job to go through this information. I just can't pretend it doesn't exist. And if there's any seriousness to this, it really depends on the outcome of this Iron Bowl game. And we all know it's do or die for Alabama in this game. It really is. You win, you move on. You lose, and it's as bad as it gets. And right now, at this current point in time, as you're listening to this, you have anxiety, right, about this game Saturday. I do. I know it's at stake. I clearly do, right? But right now, we cannot even comprehend how bad it will be with Alabama missing the playoffs for a second consecutive year. I think fans will lose it. I think that fans won't be able to control themselves. I think boosters will be completely livid. I think Alabama, like the top end, will get a ton of heat. Look at what happened to that loss. I think that it'll be 5 times greater, the pressure and the conversation, than it was against Florida State. Maybe 10 times. I think it'll be that chaotic if they miss the playoffs again, because you're not only just missing it, losing to like an Oklahoma or someone like that on the back end, you're losing to Auburn. So it's going to be that rivalry aspect kind of poured onto that. So, man, it all comes down to that particular game. And who knows, you lose that game, maybe, Coach Kalen DeBoer, he's like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this anymore, like this type of pressure. And let's face it, let me ask you inside the comment box, is it easier to win 10, 11 games at Penn State, or is it easier to win 10, 11 games at Alabama? I think 100% at Penn State. Look at the schedule of the Big Ten. I understand that the top-end teams are good, but here at Alabama, think about this, okay? Eli Drinkwitz just got his contract extended today. 10.7. He's making more than Coach Kalen DeBoer, and he took 9th in the SEC. 9th. See what I'm saying? So can Penn State, can they really make Coach Kalen DeBoer the highest paid coach in college football? It just seems odd to me. To me, like in this world, I feel that you go from Penn State then to like a Bama. I don't see those two as equals. Maybe they are. And I do feel that if Alabama does lose on Saturday, the brand will take a hit. You miss the playoffs for a second consecutive year. and DeBoer's going to get heat. And Penn State, you saw Eli Drinkwitz. He just got paid. Well, who else is Penn State really actively targeting? Have you seen like a major name? Look, I do feel that Kalen DeBoer will be here, win or lose against Auburn. But this is out there. What do you think? Do you think this is just speculative junk to be a distraction? Or do you think there's some truth to it? All right. 30 seconds before that 8-minute mark, as I said, I'll start talking about the Iron Bowl. But this is in as well from Matt Zenitz, one of the most dialed-in college football reporters out there. Looks like things are really picking up with Oregon State and Alabama wide receiver coach Jamarcus Shepard. We've been talking about this all week, and it looks like Alabama is close to losing its wide receiver coach, who's done a damn good job here. Alabama always upgrades at this position, but that's a very talented room. He's a hell of a recruiter. I think it will be a loss if it does go down. Alabama versus Auburn. Thank you very much for joining us for talking about the game that is taking place this Saturday. All the other junk, all the other stuff out there, nothing matters other than this game. There's so many distractions, okay? So Alabama versus Auburn in a do-or-die game. There's always pressure around this game, but the magnitude seems that much more right now. Maybe it's because we're in this present point in time, but it's a do-or-die situation for the Alabama Crimson Tide and head football coach Kalen DeBoer. Alabama hasn't been playing its best football. I asked you earlier, I'm like, when was the last time we saw a complete game for Alabama? Some people go back to the Tennessee game. Some people go all the way back to Georgia. This team needs to figure it out, and they need to come out, play like a team, and put it together in 3 phases of the game, offense, defense, special teams, if they want to beat Auburn. So let's look at kind of break these two teams down comparatively, and then I'm going to give my final assessment, okay? But before that, I'll give you one more look at the injury report, which, by the way, will be updated again Thursday night, Friday night as we move forward. But we do know this as of right now. Josh Cuevas out, Kevin Riley out, and those guys listed as the probable, those are my most important guys I'm looking at. You need Jeremy Bernard. You need Parker Brailsford. There's guys on this team that you can replace. You can't replace Jeremy Bernard. You can't replace Parker Brailsford. I get it. Geno Vandermark, very capable if he was to be the center, but give me Parker Brailsford all day, okay? And same thing with Jeremy Bernard. No one's replacing him. Nobody. Who has the edge in this game? Well, what I did was I broke it down from pass offense, pass defense, run defense, special teams, bare bones, and home field. Okay, clearly we know Auburn's going to have the home field advantage, period. But kind of diving into the numbers, I found this interesting. Alabama right now, the pass offense, as bad as everybody thinks that Alabama's offense is, they have the 9th best passing offense in the country, 292 yards per game. And Ty Simpson has to absolutely come with it in this game, right? I think Sleeper has him throwing for 270 yards, more or less inside the comment box for our sponsor, Sleeper. I think he's got to throw for more than 270 if they want to win this game. Ty Simpson's got to be on to win this game. And the big question is, and this isn't on the board, but if Ty Simpson is on the struggle bus, do you make the call to change out your quarterback? You got to be able to have trust in your quarterback 1,000,000%. You got to be able to have his back, but you also have to have the team's best interest. And if that quarterback isn't on fire in the first half, or, you know, if he's not even on fire, but if he's struggling, you got to think about getting that offense going, okay? Alabama clearly has the edge in pass offense. Auburn, they've been struggling. They played 3 different quarterbacks this year. I believe that this quarterback, Ashton Daniels, is the best of the bunch. He looked very good against Vanderbilt. And while they're only throwing for 191 yards per game, which is 104th in the nation, the last big-time game that they played against at Vanderbilt a couple weeks ago, he threw for over 300. Ashton Daniels can throw for a lot of yards, and he has very talented wide receivers. Okay, Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman are as good as any wide receivers in the SEC, as good as any wide receivers that the Crimson Tide has faced this year. Okay, so who has the better run offense? Well, that's easy. Alabama's only running for 123, which still seems like a lot for this group, which is 107, up from 123, which they were a couple weeks ago. And Auburn is a team that wants to run the ball, but surprisingly, even watching a couple games, they go spread so often. I'm talking 5 wide, 4 wide. They're 43rd in the nation, almost 200 yards per game. So Auburn has the edge in that aspect, okay? And I'm kind of curious to see Auburn's game plan. I really am. Is surely Auburn isn't this crazy to be able to try to pass on Alabama's defense? Because look, in the next statistic, Alabama is only allowing 148 yards passing. That number is ridiculous. 4th in the country in pass defense. So is Auburn really going to come in this game and think they can challenge Alabama's secondary? I just don't think so. They got some wide receivers. They really do. But, man, teams have struggled to pass the football on Bama. Everybody. I'm talking Garrett Nussmeier. I'm talking John Mateer. I'm talking Diego. I'm talking Prabula. I'm talking Gunnar Stockton. I mean, those are good quarterbacks. On the flip side, look at Auburn's pass defense right here. Is this an area where Alabama could maybe take advantage, right? They're allowing 240 per game. Yo, could Ty have a field day against the Tigers? If he can get the ball off and the offensive line can protect him, yo, maybe this is an area where Alabama could really take advantage. Again, you can't have turnovers, you can't have fumbles, and Auburn's going to send a lot of heat. But maybe this is one of those areas where Alabama could take advantage. Look at that pass defense. You have the 9th best passing offense going against a passing defense that is on the struggle bus. And clearly that number isn't 9th. I'll have to update that. It's like way back there. This is a typo. They're like, I think they're 90th. I'm serious. It's like far back there. Matter of fact, let me just edit it while we're there. Give me a second. Let's check that out. So passing defense, I'm going to look this up. I'm going to cut the edit live. You know, I make mistakes from time to time. I'm accountable for the mistakes, but I like to address those mistakes and take care of it. So 239, that is going to put us, and I'm looking for Auburn's pass defense. Okay, check this out. That is 98th. So we'll do a quick edit live, okay? And we're talking Auburn's, that's 98th. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. So Alabama's pass offense, 9th in the country, going against Auburn's pass defense, which is 98th in the country. Whoa, that's huge. Clear advantage for Alabama. Okay, run defense. Alabama, 32nd in the nation. This is a number that has greatly improved for Alabama. And one thing about Alabama where they've improved is they've stopped those big chunk yardage plays. They maybe allow like 1 a game, but there used to be a time where it was like 5 to 10 per game. They've cut that way down. Do you agree with that? I 100%. Auburn's run defense is stingy, okay? They're only allowing 94 yards per game, which is 11th, okay? I don't know if Alabama's going to be able to just run the ball against – they haven't been able to run the ball against really anybody outside of Eastern Illinois. So expecting them to come in against Auburn's run defense and just dominate, I think that's unrealistic. So that's an area that's going to be an advantage to Auburn, is just shutting down Alabama's already struggling run game. Okay. Special teams. Okay, I could have went a couple different ways with special teams, but I just went with the field goal kicker. I think that's a pivotal position in a game like this. You agree? Special teams. Our kicker, right? Connor Talty. He's 11 of 18 on the year. We've discussed him all week. Coach Kalen DeBoer continues to defend him. This is our guy. We're going to need him for the rest of the year. On the flip side, Alex McPherson of Auburn is 18 of 21. And the stat that stands out the most is he is 5 of 6 from 40 yards out. So Auburn gets in range. They have a lot of confidence in Alex McPherson, okay? And then, of course, home field advantage goes to the Tigers. But the Crimson Tide have won the last 2 over there. But the last 4 have been absolutely bananas, going 2 ways for Auburn, going 2 ways for Bama. So that stadium is crazy. We've talked about it. But looks like Auburn, at least in this graph that I built out, they have the edge 4-2. Okay? Maybe put that in the locker room or whatever. Common opponents. I put up common opponents side by side. Not necessarily in the order that each team played them, just so it'd line up side to side, just if you're wondering. I'm too A-type. It's a problem. All right, so Alabama. They lost to Oklahoma 23-21. Oklahoma lost to the Sooners by 7. Alabama beat Georgia by 3. Auburn lost to Georgia by 10. Alabama beat Missouri by 3. Auburn went into overtime with Missouri and lost 23-17. Alabama beat Vanderbilt 30-14. Auburn went into overtime with Vanderbilt losing 45-38. So it's not like Auburn's been completely smoked in those games. And I bet you if you ask like DJ Durkin, be like, are there a couple plays where you feel that you could have won 3 out of 4 of those games? You know what? Maybe they could have won 4 out of 4 because they were beating Georgia. I think it was 10-3 at halftime, if I'm not mistaken. So, maybe DJ Durkin feels that they could have won all those games. I know Alabama feels that they should have won all 4 of those games. The one game that stands out is Oklahoma. Who beat Oklahoma? Did Oklahoma straight up beat Alabama? No. Alabama beat itself in that game. So maybe there's some games where Auburn beat itself in those games. Maybe it was all of them. I don't know. It kind of seems like it, to be honest. I think it all comes down in my final assessment, and my final score is coming up next. It all comes down to tie, to be honest. I mean, that you're going to hear Coach Saban talk about this on College Game Day. And one thing that he always says in big-time games like this is it's going to come down to the quarterbacks that makes less mistakes. He has made a lot of mistakes in the last 5 games, 8 of them, 8 turnovers in the last 5 games. That's a nasty number. Ty's a good quarterback, all right? I have confidence in Ty. I think he can get out of this slump. Big-time players rise up in big-time games. You remembered what you do for November. All those cliches, they're true. You have an opportunity to go into this game, a game that people remember for the rest of your life, right, and ball out. And he has weapons of mass destruction. Okay, he really does. Maybe he'll hit on him a couple different times in that Auburn defense of secondary that's 98th in the country. Ty Simpson got to come with it, man. The less mistakes and just controlled football, long sustaining drives, Alabama, that's the key to success. That time of possession value that we once were talking about on a weekly basis, get back to that. Get back to that. My final take, okay? Both teams are battle tested. They really are. I mean, Alabama's played one hell of a schedule. And for the most part, they've survived, right? 9-2. Why is Auburn battle tested? Well, they played a hell of a schedule too. They're in the SEC. They lost their coach, right? This team, they didn't quit. They're still standing. They still have pride in performance, and they want this game more than anybody. This team has been punched in the mouth, right? This team has been laughed at. This team has been written off. This is a dangerous team. 1,000,000%, they're battle tested. Hell yeah. Bama clearly has more at stake, right? Because the playoffs, the coach, everything. They have so much at stake, and Auburn knows that. This is Auburn's Super Bowl matchup. Auburn's like, look, our season is toasted. What, they can make a bowl game if they win? They can ruin Alabama's season, knock them out of the playoffs with a win, okay? So Bama has so much more at stake. And really, Auburn has nothing to lose. Nothing. Who cares, right? And when you don't care about things, like if you play golf, when you stop caring, that's when you start playing better. But it's like when you overthink things and when you're tense and when you're tight, you're going to miss a 2-foot putt. You can't play tight in a game like this. And that kind of goes into this next area. Can Bama block out the noise? How many players on the team right now are on social media reading about Coach Kalen DeBoer going to Penn State, thinking about the playoffs, thinking about what if, all these things, all these external factors that don't mean anything. Ty Simpson, the turnover machine, all this stuff. Are players consuming that information? I would probably have the phones put away for like 10 days and be like, nobody, have a blackout. Just be like, we're going to have a blackout lock-in. And what that means is we're just going to have the right mentality going into this game. Who cares? We know what we have to do. The only thing that we can do is win this game. That's it. I don't even want to talk playoffs. I don't want to talk SEC title game. I just want to talk about the Iron Bowl and this other opponent, Ivan Drago. That's it. Remember when Rocky, in Rocky IV, when he went out to Russia, you know why he did that? To block out the noise. There's too much noise over here. So he had to go somewhere else and just put in work, right? He had to block out the noise. There was no TV. There was no nothing. It was just him and that little picture of Drago that he would see every single night before he brushed his teeth. I hope they're in that mode. Finally, turnovers are going to dictate the result. They will, all right? It's going to come down to turnovers and field goal play. That's it. Those are the two main things. And whichever quarterback makes the least amount of mistakes will become the victor. And same goes for a monumental special teams play, which clearly doesn't bode well for Alabama right now since the guy's, on a slump as well. But that's what's going to dictate this game. My final score, I'm taking Alabama 17, Auburn 13. I do feel it'll be close. I do feel that it's going to come down to, something crazy. I don't think that Auburn, just pounds Alabama. I could see Alabama pounding Auburn. But this game is weird. This is the only game all year that gives me anxiety. So I'm rolling with the Tide, 17-13. Remember, today at 10 a.m. will be a call-in show. So call in and give me your score predictions. Fam, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Once again, my blessing is clearly you guys as viewers, but I really hope that you had time to soak it in with your family today, because I know they care about you and you matter to them. And I love being around the table at this point in time with the people that I love. And that as you get older in life, you understand that family is all you got. At the end of the day, that's it. Okay. And it's better to be around people that are in your corner than out there solo. I promise you. So surround yourself, continue, not only this day, but always. If you have an opportunity to go be with family, go do it. Right. And you are my family. And I appreciate you guys. So run the thumbs up on these videos. I will catch you at 10 a.m. Central Time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Stay blessed, and we'll talk soon right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam.